Sports Live on a Monday. It's going to be a huge Monday because Julio Jones is a Tennessee Titan and he's in Nashville. The Titans just tweeted out a video of Julio Jones stepping off the plane to meet his new GM, John Robinson, after the trade goes down Sunday. Official Julio Jones, after a lot of talk, a lot of speculation, is a Tennessee Titan. And the Titans now have Julio, AJ, Tannehill, Henry. That offense is one to be feared with in the NFL, and it sends a message across the entire NFL that the Titans are shooting for a Super Bowl in 2021. Welcome to A to Z Sports. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We're going to have a huge show this morning, just like we have over the last 24 hours, a huge social media presence and what we've all been reacting to with the Julio Jones trade. Zach, welcome in. We're going to ask everybody what their emotion was, to describe their emotion when they saw the news come down for Julio Jones in the trade. Can the Titans win a Super Bowl now that they have Julio Jones? And then we'll bring A.J. Brown into this conversation and play a video from yesterday about what jersey number A.J. and Julio might wear this upcoming season. And it is Monday, which means a bad sales job Monday. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done bad sales job on a Monday, but a huge show here on A to Z Sports, live from the Bone & Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, boneandjointtn.org. Welcome in all Titans fans. Very excited about Julio being a Titan.
Yeah, and shout out to Jalen checking in from Kuwait. So we're worldwide. This is a big show. It is a big opportunity for the Tennessee Titans and a big trade that John Robinson helped facilitate. We'll get your reaction. This is going to be exciting. We want your opinion on what this does to the Tennessee Titans trajectory of their entire franchise, and especially the next couple of years, as they've got some pretty big forces, some pretty big names on the roster. So we'll dive into that. Before we do, we are broadcasting live from the Bone & Joint Institute, but also broadcasting on 4 different platforms, including Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and on Facebook. If you're watching on Twitter, retweet the broadcast today. Distribute the show to your Twitter followers' timeline. That would help us out a great deal. Probably help them out too, because they probably want to talk about this. We want to hear their opinions also on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Had a lot more content going out over the last several months. We're going to ramp that up even more as we get closer to training camp. This training camp is going to be fire for A to Z Sports and for the Tennessee Titans. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook. What's going on, Facebookers? More people will pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes. As you guys do, please share the show, share the broadcast. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends' news feed. So share the show, and let's get this Julio party started.
Yeah, let's do it officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports, powered by BetMGM. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at A to Z Sports. You like our Facebook page. Also, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. We're all over the socials at A to Z Sports. We got to thank our sponsors before we get this thing going. Renters Warehouse, Nashville, renterswarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, 1 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. Mandu.com. Your first workout is free. Wilson County Hyundai. If you need a new ride, head out to Lebanon at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Calvin & Settle, to up your equity in your home, go to calvinandsettle.com for new hardwood floors and finishings. And the Bone & Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. So, Zach, I don't know where you were. I was at Home Depot with my wife, and as the news broke, everything flipped out. I'm like pushing around a cart, getting in everybody's way because I'm trying to message with all of our guys about what content we're getting out. How did you feel? How did you learn about the Julio Jones trade going down for sure?
Well, shout out to one of our A to Z Sports team members. Is actually Liz.
Yeah.
Liz informed me, and then the work began. I worked pretty much all day yesterday, but we got a lot of good content out on A to Z Sports. But yeah, I was informed based on our communication within the company. You know how much I like that.
Big time.
Love that. Love that a lot. So shout out to Liz. The communication was great on the A to Z Sports team yesterday. That's how I found out. And then we spread the news to the world because it was kind of funny. When Ian Rappaport tweeted it out, he didn't have the details. It was most likely to happen maybe in the next couple of days if there weren't any snags. And then all of a sudden, okay, here is the details. Here's what's being given up. Here are the ins and outs. And so a lot of things went into this. And then you get the players' reaction. You get Twitter overall's reaction. You get the national media's reaction, which I think, you don't see them react to Tennessee Titans news that often. But when it's as big as Julio Jones, these rumors have been swirling, and the trajectory, and we've played the percentage game, 8 times at least, right? Every single time, I feel like both of our percentages have raised. Mine was a little bit higher than yours throughout the course of the process, but I felt that way because teams kept on dropping off, and we knew how important it was for the Titans to improve their receiving core because they didn't do that during the draft.
Or with free agency with Josh Reynolds, a 1-year deal for under $2 million wasn't exactly like this is the guy who's going to replace Corey Davis. You know, in a 4th-round pick, Des Fitzpatrick isn't the guy who's going to replace Corey Davis. So there was a massive hole in the roster. We knew that.
Yeah, no, and the Titans were able to address that in maybe a little bit unorthodox way by this trade, but we knew it was going to come down. We knew the Falcons could not sign their draft class without trading Julio, and the Titans end up benefiting. And this is massive for this franchise that I always remember this because I've been covering this team a long time. I remember when they went to were the tops in the AFC, 13-3, 10-0, Kerry Collins, Chris Johnson, and that defense. But I also remember when they were the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's how far, and they've been to an AFC championship game a couple of years ago. They won the AFC South last year. They really needed to put their chips in the center of the table. And this was another way for John Robinson to do that. I was impressed in the fact that he got the deal done.
Yeah, and the deal, again, like we talked about this, somewhat recently when Diana Rossini said a 1st-round pick was on the table. The deal that John Robinson got done, the full terms, the Falcons get the Titans' 2nd-round draft pick in 2022 next spring. Atlanta gets the Titans the following year in the 4th round, and the Titans get the Falcons' 6th-rounder in that 2023 draft. So the Titans really did not give up that much. I mean, they really did. A 2nd-round pick was kind of what we all thought the going rate might be, but then the extra mid-round pick and getting one back from the Atlanta Falcons to make things feel a little more even. I mean, you got to think that this was an absolute steal. And John Robinson said this in his press conference yesterday, that both sides were very happy with what they were able to get done, or else, the Titans were thrilled with it, and the Falcons obviously accepted it, so they were thrilled with it too, to get Julio off their books, so now they can actually go sign Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, well, and this makes so much sense on why the deal got done based on all the things that have happened over the course of the last couple of weeks, right? First of all, it was reported that Julio wanted to either go to Tennessee or New England. So he openly, whether he leaked that, his agent leaked that, he was out there in the public saying, these are the teams that I want to go to. Then other teams started to pile in. You had the Shannon Sharp fiasco on Undisputed, where I don't think he realized that he was on air. I don't know if that helped. He ended up getting to the team that he wanted to get to. But the connections from Arthur Smith, A.J. Brown, you got to shout out A.J. Brown and the recruitment that he was able to do over the last couple of weeks, along with Ryan Tannehill, Kevin Byard, Derrick Henry, the king himself. He spoke a couple of weeks ago. So these things trending in the right direction. I truly think at the end of the day, the fact that Arthur Smith was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons helped tremendously in that connection and facilitating and kind of maybe pushing. But also,
I don't know.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
I think
yes.
Arthur Smith being there helped tremendously. Unless you know more information about that, I don't know if you can say.
I think that connection, absolutely. He just left the door. He literally just left Nashville. The familiarity
but
there.
Arthur Smith's not the guy dealing up the trade. That's Terry Fontenot, the brand new GM. That's what that has to do with.
If I know somebody that I just previously worked with, and I give him the bill, the rite of passage to say, look, these are good people to work with, and they will give you the right deal.
I think Arthur Smith spoke highly of the Titans front office and organization, but I don't think Arthur Smith tremendously helped. I think this was Arthur Smith giving a spoken good word about the Titans, but that's.
I think that it was a tremendous. I'll double down on that word.
Unless you know information about this, then you cannot say.
I can say that because I just did.
Okay.
So here's the other thing that I think impacted this deal, and I think Atlanta wanted to do Julio right. For what all Julio gave to the Atlanta Falcons, I think they wanted to trade him to a team that he wanted to go to. And the Tennessee Titans were that team. And the impact, I think, is great now for the Titans who are going after a championship and the Falcons who are more in rebuild mode. The Falcons are waiting for Tom Brady to retire. That's when they will push all their eggs in the basket and go forward.
I agree with that a lot. And who knows what Sam Darnold's going to be with the Panthers. But again, they're more worried about Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. So let's talk about this, because I do think, I want to get to this about what the expectations this sends. But I do want to get you guys more involved in the show today. And the first question for you guys, not really a question, it's more of an ask for you. Describe your emotion when you heard the Titans traded for Julio Jones. Describe your emotion when you heard the Titans traded for Julio Jones. But first, let me tell you guys where we are at right now. That is the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever that injury happens in life, make sure you know who to go to, who to trust. They have great people here at the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. They will help you throughout the entire process of your recovery process, from the beginning clinic, the diagnosis, all the way through the surgery, if you need it, and the rehab, whether you need surgery or didn't. Boneandjointtn.org is where to go.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by Austin Shirt BetMGM. That is the title sponsor of our morning show. Won some money over the weekend. Unfortunately, Luka's season is over. Luka won me a lot of cash this season, as you know, from three-pointers and point over totals. I became a prop player later in the NBA season. Shout out to BetMGM. They are the best app on the market for betting on sports right here in Tennessee. So download the app today.
All right, so describe your emotion of what you felt when you heard the Titans actually traded for Julio Jones. We've been talking about this for weeks. So describe your emotion when you found the news. Zach, I'll send you the comment section first.
So I got to scroll back up. Elated from BMO, excited, got a lot excited, shocked from Kendrick right there, pumped from Daniel, giddy, excited, happy AF, bummed out from Louis for some reason, relieved from Travis, lit from John, hyped from Kevin. A lot of great emotions coming out here in the chat. Stoked from Lewis. Traded from Jeff, so he's going pretty formal from Big Tim Jeff. Surprise from Franklin, relieved from Jay Joy, euphoric from Lane, excited again with a bunch of emojis from Dustin, ecstatic, stoked. There's a lot of emotion. Jacked up from Chad, jacked from Marco, relieved. So a lot of very similar words coming in from excited, stoked, and on cloud nine from Davidson, as you can see there. Mm-hmm. Austin, what was your emotion? We've been following this. I know it's a different type of emotion for you and I because of the company that we run, but also we have a vested interest in the Tennessee Titans. I've always said this. I personally would like the Tennessee Titans to win the Super Bowl. Unless they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that would change.
Does that change now that the Bucs just won one?
No.
Okay,
are you kidding me? I want 5,
I feel like
6,
I feel like
7,
need to ask
8.
the question.
No, that will never change. That's like it's just like a fan. Like, you understand that. But there is an emotion when big deals happen. I love to see the Titans go for it. And this is another way that the Tennessee Titans are going for a championship. What is your one word?
My emotion was adrenaline, just like pure adrenaline going through my veins. I immediately grabbed my phone. We message our group company content tech message chain and just start setting up on what everybody's doing. And it was just like the adrenaline rush of breaking news, being able to react off of it. And then sitting back and thinking, because I tweeted this, Titans training camp is going to be on a completely different level of fire. And I cannot wait until late July. Like, I'm going to OTAs on Thursday Julio's in Nashville, but I doubt he's going to be on the practice field on Thursday. Who knows?
I'd bet you money. This is a great conversation. I think he will be.
Well, we can have that later in the week. I mean, it just depends on, because last Thursday Tannehill was there, but a bunch of other guys were not.
think he will be.
I mean, I hope he is, because that means
But you don't think he will be, or do you?
I don't expect superstars to be on the OTA practice field. Especially 4 days after they got traded.
I expect it.
I hope so. I'm not expecting that because of what OTAs are. Now, minicamp, when that rolls around next week, he's going to have to be out.
I think he's going to be there Thursday.
I would love it. Again, I'm rooting for that, because that means I get to witness his first practice in Titans uniform, and I get to go out there and take videos and post it for you guys and do all types of different reaction stuff. But I'm not getting my hopes up for that. So adrenaline was the emotion that I felt, really just about what this season's going to be. Because I said this a couple weeks ago. A trade for Julio Jones would send a message to the entire building at St. Thomas Sports Park, to the entire organization that Amy Adams Strunk is running, that they are going for it. This is a chips all-in move to go for a Super Bowl during this window when Ryan Tannehill is one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. Derrick Henry cannot be stopped. A.J. Brown is a young stud out here going back-to-back 1K seasons, especially in a year where a guy ran for 2,000 yards, and now they add a future Hall of Famer in Julio Jones to go along with the 7 new starters on defense that they spent free agency capital on, and draft capital on. Everything seems like it's lining up for the Titans to take advantage of this fully. And I honestly cannot wait for it to be here quick enough.
So my emotion was relief. I was relieved. And I'll tell you a few things of why I felt that. I think I was relieved that it was finally over, right? We've been the build up. It's great. I love talking about it, right? Yeah. And I love watching A.J. Brown and all the other guys recruit Julio Jones. But I think I was relieved, and I'll give credit because I think Teron Davenport of ESPN.com wrote a great article on really the impact. This impacts A.J. Brown a massive, massive amount. Yeah. Without Julio Jones, A.J. Brown really has to work his ass off to get to 1K again and not be double teamed all the time. He is the singular only threat on the offense without Julio Jones. Yeah. You have Derrick Henry, right? Derrick Henry is a different type of threat. He is the king. He is the centerpiece. I get that. But as far as pass catchers, this is a massive move for the Tennessee Titans. I saw this tweeted out by Mike Sando. $15.68 million was the fifth-year option price for Corey Davis.
God, here we go.
$15.3 million is the 2021 salary for Julio Jones. John Robinson, look, he's made some good picks. He's made some bad picks. Isaiah Wilson is one of the worst picks in NFL history. So that is connected. But it's how do you amend your mistakes? Right. How do you fix the things that were problems? Corey Davis was a bust of a number 5 overall pick. They did not pick up his 5th-round option for a reason. They should not. Yeah. They should not have. But now, all of a sudden, yes, you don't have a 2nd-round pick next year, but as you said, Austin, they have a future Hall of Famer, and they have the help to A.J. Brown's career that can continue on because he's not going to be the center focal point of being – hey, defenders got to kill on AJ because Derrick Henry's out of the game.
I don't know how a defense lines up and doesn't favor something. They're either going to try to stop Derrick Henry and bring a lot of guys up front towards the box, or they're going to play 2 deep safeties to make sure that Julio or AJ doesn't crush him over the top, which gives Derrick Henry yard or room to just average 6 yards a carry. And 6 yards a carry is debilitating for a defense. And so it just really makes this offense one of the most explosive offenses that's been in the NFL over the last, 5 years or so. Because
on paper,
right?
On paper, we gotta say that
with health expected, which you never know, but with health expected on paper, this offense, I don't know how you game plan against them. It's the defense just has to win one-on-one matchups, and the defense can do that at times. But there's going to be a play, where A.J. Brown takes it 75 yards for a touchdown because it was a play-action slant, and Julio Jones on the opposite side taking the safety away, and A.J. just beats his guy and goes.
Because he's better.
But yeah, because he's better than the guy across from him, that play, and a lot of the plays. So it puts so much stress on every defense the Titans line up against. And I don't, maybe we can holler at the guy, Alan Bell, who hosts A to Z Sports Picks later in the week to find out how do the lines change. We've gone through all the different lines, and we know the Titans are underdogs in more games, that they are favorites this year. So how does that change things with Julio Jones? It's a wide receiver. The guy doesn't move the line that much, but I feel like this one would.
Yeah, and a guy who we don't talk about enough throughout this entire process, and I get it. I understand there's other superstars that overshadow him. But what about Ryan Tannehill, the guy who's actually going to be throwing to both of these receivers? That Ryan Tannehill benefits the most. And I think it's funny. We're gonna play a video tomorrow and react to some of the dumb things on the internet, including Colin Cowherd. But one of the things that does not get recognized as much is the elite level that Ryan Tannehill has been playing at over the last year and a half.
Yeah, and now he's got two guys who can go up and get the football and run any route on the route tree and get yards after the catch.
John Robinson, Mike Vrabel have given Ryan Tannehill something that the Miami Dolphins never gave him.
Yeah.
That is players around him, a good franchise, a stable offense. Now, there's still question marks because Arthur Smith is gone. We referenced that in a massive, impactful way of this trade, in my opinion, but he's gone. So it is a new flavor of offense. I think they'll have similarities over the last couple of years because of the players, and you still have King Henry. But I think Ryan Tannehill benefits so much. And this also helps Anthony Firkser.
And Josh Reynolds and I'll bring up BMO. And a lot of you guys are saying the same type of things. There's a lot of comments today, so we're trying to get through them. BMO says this also takes a lot of pressure off Des Fitzpatrick, who can learn from two greats at the position. And Gene says this is like a bruiser version of the 99 Rams greatest show on turf. Like they've got like three transformers on offense, like that are fast, strong, and bigger than who's going to be trying to guard and tackle them.
And look, Akeem brings up you have to also account for Tannehill's ability to run and scramble.
That too.
God, I'm trying to click off of them. There's so many comments.
Yeah, there's so many comments flying again. But like again, and Jim C is right that wide receiver depth looks much better now because
it changed
instantly because you've got 1A, 1B. I don't care who you list first. AJ and Julio. Josh Reynolds is in his perfect spot. Josh Reynolds
this is his role.
Can still get a bunch of opportunity because the guy signed a 1-year deal under $2 million to get more opportunity for the Titans. He can still get that even with Julio and AJ. It's going to be less than before yesterday, but he can still get that opportunity to make more money after this. Then now you slide everybody else down a notch, whether it's Fitzpatrick, who's fourth, or Cam Batson, or whoever the hell it's going to be in that fourth, fifth, sixth spot. And now Anthony Firkser. The true tight end thing is still an issue for me personally on how you don't tip your hand. But again, with the balance that you have of Julio, AJ, and Derrick Henry in all thirds of the field, you can't cheat to one side.
I would be curious, and I don't want to speculate, but I'd be curious to see what put the Titans over the edge to go get Julio. Did they see the wide receiver group like I did at that practice a couple of Thursdays ago and really look at themselves and say, look, we got to have another guy?
Maybe. Well, and John Robinson said they've been talking for a few weeks and that things started to heat up on Friday and Saturday, and then they got it done Sunday morning. So, like, this has been an ongoing thing.
And teams started to pull out, too. That helped them a lot.
Well, and you started to see the teams that were rumored that had not pulled out yet, like the Rams and the Seahawks, and then the Rams did pull out. They didn't have a first-round pick like next year anyway. And so you knew the first-round pick wasn't necessarily going to be on the table for Julio.
So this is pretty interesting. Jim C45 says the offense will be the same, if not better. And I think that is very telling. I do think that it can be better. But the Titans offense last year was historical.
For the Titans. It was top 2-3 in the league. And it has been that since Ryan Tannehill took over in week 7 of 2019.
And we all believe that the defense will be improved. Now, how much we don't know, but they've put a lot of different things into changing this defense so they're not as bad as they were last year when they had to cut their starting corner in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I had a guy, Wally, say now they need to do something about that defense on Twitter. I said the Titans have done nothing on defense except sign Bud Dupree, Danico Autry, Janoris Jenkins, re-signed Jayon Brown, drafted Caleb Farley and Elijah Molden, and other moves. Like they've flipped over half of their defensive starters, and the remaining starters are Jeffrey Simmons, Kevin Byard, Harold Landry, and Rashawn Evans. And Jayon Brown, kind of.
On paper, and that's all right. They haven't played a snap yet. On paper, this is a great football team.
On paper, no doubt about it. On paper, it's better because Julio Jones is an upgrade over Corey Davis. Nobody disagrees with that. Adam Humphries was not on the field enough to be available. I think Josh Reynolds can be viewed as an upgrade on Adam Humphries, and I think Anthony Firkser is really a replacement for Adam Humphries as well. The big issue is the Jonnu Smith replacement because Jonnu Smith was able to be a glue guy of the offense, could be there on every down in every situation, and would not tip off whether it's a run, a play action pass, or a regular pass, or a screen, that Jonnu could fit every role as a tight end. And they just frankly don't have that on the roster right now with Firkser and Swain. I like Firkser for his role, and I like Swain for his role, but outside of that, there is some cause to be concerned at the tight end position overall. But again, does it matter as much now that Julio Jones is outside with A.J. Brown? I think it matters a little bit less. It's still important, though.
Yeah, and look, the impact of Derrick Henry and the Alabama connection. I mean, the Alabama connection is real. I think that helped. Julio working out with Derrick Henry recently helped. Didn't hurt.
No doubt. And John Robinson mentioned yesterday, too, in his presser that he talked to Titans players. He talked to his current guys, and they understood – I think he used work ethic and drive and wanting to win. That's the words and terms he used when talking to Titans players about Julio, that guys know him personally and know what he's about, and they know he's going to fit what the Titans want to do. Julio Jones checks boxes because he's a freak future Hall of Fame wide receiver, but I think he also checks the personality boxes that the Titans are looking for.
Well, and you get to a point as a player and as a great player that money, you've made your money, right? If you have not won a Super Bowl, and we all know 28-3, the Falcons did not win that Super Bowl, and really since they haven't been very good, that's all he wants right now in his career.
Yeah, 32 years old.
He wants to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's like Ndamukong Suh. I mean, the list goes on of how many different players want to win a Super Bowl at the end of their career, and they could care less. They care less about money. It's really about the place that they're working.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but several people in the comments at the same time says, update, Julio Jones just touched down in Nashville. That happened before our show started. Yes, Julio Jones is in Nashville. The Titans tweeted out a video of John Robinson greeting him off the plane earlier this morning. So let's get to this second question here, Zach. Can the Titans win a Super Bowl now that they have Julio Jones? Can the Titans win a Super Bowl now that they have Julio Jones? But first, tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And you can drive a great vehicle if you go to wilsoncountyhyundai.com. They've got the 2021 Palisade, which is their full-size SUV. It's got third-row seating, bucket seats, all the bells and whistles, all the technology that you need, all at a great price. Payne Bone and his team will hook you up with the perfect make and model. Maybe it's not a full-size SUV. Maybe it's more like the Sonata that I own, which is a four-door sedan. I absolutely love it. Zero issues on the streets, just pure domination by my Sonata. The Santa Fe, they've got the Elantra. They've got you covered. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
A to Z Sports, powered every morning by BetMGM. Download the app today. Use code ATOZ Sports to get a risk-free bet up to $600 with your first deposit and your first bet. Again, code ATOZ Sports. Risk-free bets at BetMGM with your first deposit and your first bet up to $600. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older. Must be present in Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. Great question here, right? Can the Titans win a Super Bowl now that they have Julio Jones? I will just go down the comments. Smoke says yes. Matt says they could make the Super Bowl as long as the defense can click. Rachel, yes. Steven, 100% yes. Super Bowl winners from Scott, yes. Nick says absolutely yes. Tank says yes if healthy, which is understanding with everybody. Maurice says hell yeah. Tons of comments jumping all around. Dean says, can they definitely? Will they is another story. AFC is pretty stacked, but they're in the conversation. Ken says it really depends on the defense at this point. Devin says, yes, they have a better chance. We'll also need the defense to match the offense well enough. The pressure is on. Titans for Life says, can't win a Super Bowl until we see how the defense comes together. Jim says yes. Chad says, can win the Super Bowl if the defense improves also. Meredith says, stats say yes. Hope for everyone knows there's always the X Factor games. So I'm seeing mostly yeses, Zach. Mostly yeses with the understanding that the defense has to get a lot better. It has to click.
And the stars have to align. And Ty Smith, health is a massive part of that. My answer is...
We'll say this. Health for everybody, because you saw what happened to the Chiefs when they got unhealthy at the wrong time. Both tackles go down. The Bucs defense was all over Mahomes. They can't score a touchdown, right? That's just how things work. Health is always there.
Right. And you hope that they can stay healthy. You saw Lawan go down last year. He'll return this year, I think, with a chip on his shoulder because of the last 2 seasons of being suspended for performance-enhancing drugs for 4 games, and then last year only playing a handful of games before tearing his ACL. But I do think he's refocused, and he's got to kind of prove the second half of his NFL career.
I think he feels a lot of pressure on himself to make sure he can stick around for a lot longer.
Right, and he's a key cog in this offense too. My answer is, can they win a Super Bowl? The answer is yes, they can now. Could they 3 days ago? No, they couldn't. They just couldn't. But a player like this and an X factor that helps Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, and that defense, because if you put up points, I know it's hard fighting fire with fire, especially in the conference that you're in with the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is still there. And the Bills are just getting bigger, faster, and stronger. And Josh Allen is coming more into his own than he ever has been. So those 2 things, but I put the Titans in the AFC right there at number 3. I think they could vie for that number 2 spot. I don't think that they are better than the Kansas City Chiefs just because of Julio Jones. I think that they have the ability to beat the Chiefs on any given Sunday, but they can win a Super Bowl if things go correctly. 3 days ago, without Julio Jones, it would have taken too much to go right for them to win a Super Bowl.
I'll put the power rankings up that we showed yesterday from ESPN.com from last month. This is obviously the Titans were ranked 10th in the NFL without Julio Jones. They were ranked, 5th in the AFC without Julio Jones? I agree with you. I think they're absolutely 3rd in the AFC with Julio Jones. I think they're pretty damn even.
You could argue with the Bills. You could go 2A, 2B.
And I think the Titans beat the Bills on that Tuesday night weird game where the Titans were pissed off and ready to go out and just shut everybody up.
Ready to play.
They're ready to play. They didn't practice in 16 days. They had heard everybody in the country talk bad about them and how they were doing everything wrong, and they had extra motivation and went out there, and the Bills were the victim.
And as was Josh Norman. He passed away that night.
Yes, Josh Norman ceased to exist. But that was – I don't see that. I don't see those 2 teams as that game represents those 2 teams. I think the Bills are still a better football team right now than the Titans because we do know the Bills' defense, minus Josh Norman, is still really good. Now, the Bills' offense struggled some in the playoffs, but that was Josh Allen doing something for the first time with extra pressure. How does Josh Allen now follow up knowing there's more pressure on him? I think Josh Allen having success is not surprising. How does Josh Allen follow up that success now that the NFL knows what's happening?
And his division has gotten better.
Yes.
The Jets have a brand new quarterback in Zach Wilson. The Dolphins have added a lot of key pieces that they needed. Tua is still the question mark. And the New England Patriots are the New England Patriots. So, and the Titans division, let's just face it. The only thing that has really changed, the Jags suck and the Texans suck. Carson Wentz is the X factor for the Colts. We'll talk more about this tomorrow, but if you compare division, I am actually going to do that. In the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs are number 1. You cannot dethrone Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. They're going to have to do battle, and it will probably, if the Titans go to the Super Bowl, it will be a repeat of the AFC Championship game from 2 years ago. But I will say the Titans 1A to 1B with the Buffalo Bills. Oh, or I guess 2A, 2B, excuse me.
I mean, I
they're tied for second.
I don't think so. I just think the Bills are still better right now. Because, look, the Titans defense still has a lot of
I choose the AFC South.
Okay. I mean, so you think maybe the Titans can get the 2 seed over the Bills because of the division. I get that.
That's the second best team in the AFC.
Right. But I think head-to-head, the Bills right now are still better than the Titans until I see the Titans defense start to put things together.
So can they win a Super Bowl?
Yes. If you're a top 3 team in your conference, I think you're in that conversation of being able to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And once you get there, anything can happen, especially when you have Derrick Henry. Especially when Derrick Henry can go and run for 200 yards on any game. Any game, Derrick Henry can change it in one play. Really, like what is it? The Titans have led the NFL in 50-yard touchdowns over the last 2 years.
Derrick Henry.
Insane. And A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Like A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry are home run hitters, but they also don't strike out that often. Like it's insane that the Titans have the level of explosive ability that they do. So I've got some insane stats from our guy, Teron Davenport at ESPN. But first, Zach, tell everybody about Calvin and Subtle.
Yeah, Calvin and Subtle is where you need to go to get your hardwood floors here in Middle Tennessee and around this area, whether you live here in Franklin, where the Bone and Joint Institute is, or in Clarksville, or in Davidson County, Williamson County. It doesn't matter. They can service your home by renovating your home. Rip up that old carpet that is in your house or the old scuffed up hardwood floors and replace them with good quality hardwood floors. That's calvinandsubtle.com, 615-446-6414. Right there, calvinandsubtle.com. That is calvinandsubtle.com. They've got you covered. We feature them on this broadcast all of the time. Hardwood floors, I'm telling you, rip up that old carpet, Calvin and Subtle.
BetMGM, download the app today. Code ATOZ Sports, risk-free bet up to $600. That's the BetMGM app. I did see where the Titans Super Bowl odds have been removed from the board at BetMGM and a lot of books. They try to reconfigure what's going to go on here. And I agree with Donald. Crazy how some people think Bud Dupree and Autry are not upgrades. Mike Clay. So Zach, insane stats.
We as an A to Z sports community proved Mike Clay and put him in a body bag last week. We all know he's wrong, and Mike Clay went to sleep that night knowing that he forgot about Bud Dupree.
Mike Clay went to bed that night annoyed at Titans fans and us for making his day miserable.
But realizing his mistake.
Yes. All right. So
deep down, I think he realized.
Probably so. Especially the next day, NFL.com put out the most disruptive pass rushers in the league last year.
And Bud Dupree was
fifth. Okay, here's the insane stats from our guy, Teron Davenport, at ESPN.com. He just goes 6-man box, 7-man box, and 8-man box, and has stats for Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones.
This is good work.
This is insanely good work from Teron Davenport. Against a 6-man box, Derrick Henry has averaged 5.3 yards per carry over the last 2 years against a 6-man front, averaging only 4.3 rushes per game against them. So Derrick Henry does not see a 6-man front a lot, but when he does, he eats well. Against a 7-man box, A.J. Brown over the last 2 years is averaging a league-high 4.3 receiving yards per route against a 7-man box. So that works very well to A.J. Brown. Against an 8-man box, over the last 5 years, Julio Jones has 634 receiving yards against a 8-man box. That's 163 yards more than anyone else in the league. He's averaging 4.7 yards per route against 8-man fronts, the best of any wide receiver in the NFL with over 100 routes run. So a 6-man box, Derrick Henry is going to demolish you. A 7-man box, A.J. Brown has done better than anybody else in the NFL. And an 8-man box, when you're trying to stop Derrick Henry, Julio Jones leads the NFL in production against that front.
Because both Julio and A.J. can get loose. And once they get loose, they're probably going to see the end zone.
Yeah.
That's what makes this offense so scary. And I think the other thing that it does that they didn't have a couple of days ago prior to this trade is they didn't have the protection of health. If one guy goes down, their offense completely changes. And I know that Derrick Henry is basically like Patrick Mahomes, right? Without him, the drink does not taste good. But with Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, I think you could get through a couple of games if, in fact, Derrick Henry turns an ankle or something happens to him this year unorthodox that doesn't usually happen. They couldn't have gotten through with Josh Reynolds and Anthony Firkser and Dez Fitzpatrick. They couldn't have gotten through.
No.
And now they can. And that's important in a longer season. You got an extra game. And, this is a different NFL. This is not your father's NFL. This is not even growing up 10 years ago NFL because they changed the division, and now all of a sudden they've changed the season length and they've changed the playoff structure. So this is the evolution of the NFL. We'll see what the Tennessee Titans do in this first year of a 17-game season. I love this move. I think they had to make this trade.
They had to make it, but they also didn't screw themselves down the road.
No, and they didn't give up a first-round pick. I think
I did not think they should have.
Well, I think we called the bluff.
The Falcons tried to float that out there.
Well, Diana Rossini said this was going to be a long shot. We also have to hold her accountable.
Sure,
and she does very good work. She's
right a lot more than she is wrong, right. Especially about the Titans.
She was wrong here because I never really felt like it was a long shot.
But again, she's connected with the Titans, so she's connected with the Falcons too. Maybe she was getting words. Maybe the first round pick came from Atlanta and the long shot came from the Titans to try to throw people off.
Or maybe both. Maybe both came from Atlanta to get more suitors.
Maybe so. And so you never really know. So Ethan Ramsey says, "Holy three-headed monster, Batman," talking about Henry, AJ, and Julio. And then King Jay's on YouTube. I don't know who he's a fan of, but he says, "Y'all acting like the Titans have an MVP quarterback." I can't see it. Oh, Patriots. He's a Patriots fan right there, and his avatar is Mac Jones.
What number does Mac Jones have on his avatar?
It should
have 50.
It's not 50.
Hey, King Jay, you should have 50.
But again,
your quarterback's number is 50.
Right, as of now. So for King Jay, I don't know. King Jay doesn't have an MVP quarterback.
They're hazing their future starting quarterback.
Which I think is hilarious.
When do you see that?
Never. But I think it's fantastic.
Why are they hazing your future starting quarterback?
I don't know. Which is weird because Bill Belichick's allowing this to happen.
I thought the same thing. We haven't had a chance to talk about this. I find that kind of ridiculous.
I did too, but not to get distracted. Is Ryan Tannehill an MVP candidate? Is he an MVP quarterback? Probably not. But is he a top 8 quarterback in the NFL? Yeah.
He's a Pro Bowl quarterback.
He is a Pro Bowl quarterback. And so with the surrounding cast that he has, that's plenty good. And I'll just read these stats from CBS. Since 2019, the Titans lead the NFL in these offensive categories. Touchdowns, which is the most important category an offense can have. It's scoring points and scoring touchdowns. They have 110 touchdowns the last 2 seasons. Plays of 50-plus yards, 23. That's pretty crazy, too. Red zone touchdown percentage is insanely important at 75.2%, and rushing touchdowns because of Derrick Henry at 47. That also includes the abysmal, gross 6 weeks that Marcus Mariota was a starting quarterback at the beginning of 2019, and that Ryan Tannehill has been insanely good ever since taking over as Titans starter. And anybody who's actually watched Ryan Tannehill as a Titans quarterback knows that. The only people that are dismissing Ryan Tannehill are the people who have not watched him consistently since he was with the Dolphins.
And Ryan Tannehill will never get enough credit he deserves. No. I mean, you know that.
Because if the Titans go and win the Super Bowl, hypothetically, it's Brown, because of Henry, Julio, AJ.
It's because of Derrick Henry. If they win the Super Bowl, it will be because of Derrick Henry being the best running back in the league. And if he's the best running back in the league again this year, he solidifies his Hall of Fame jacket. We've established that.
Yes.
We've run the numbers. So Ryan Tannehill, though, has been the X factor to get the Titans to be wanted.
And there's no doubt, because I think Ryan Tannehill's ability to throw the ball down the field has helped Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's ability to pound the ball between the tackles has helped Ryan Tannehill throw the ball down the field. And then you've got A.J. Brown, who's helped everybody with his pure ability. Corey Davis was able to be helped by A.J. Brown and get paid by the Jets. And now Julio Jones, who is better than Corey Davis and right there with A.J. Brown to add to the mix. And the offensive line, you have Nate Davis in year 3, really blossoming. Ben Jones, savvy veteran center. Roger Saffold and Lawan on the left side, locking that down. Really the main question is right tackle, who wins that job, and how the tight end position rounds into shape. That's it on offense.
No, for sure. So, look, it changes the dynamic of the entire team. The culture is very good. Mike Vrabel, I want to quickly go through this because yesterday I kind of answered the question of what we asked today. With the Titans are now officially Super Bowl contenders. I think as a whole, they are contenders. I don't think you can't contend that they are not contenders. But of all the things that they did, I listed 10. I think you could list about 15 of the differences of what they're going into this year with and within their division, within their conference. Revamped defense. They have Bud Dupree. They have King Henry. They have A.J. Brown, who is a 1K machine, a disciplined head coach in Mike Vrabel. And I'll add to this, Austin, Mike Vrabel has now head coaching experience, right? He's not just this new coach. He's made his mistakes. And we've seen him, right? We've seen his in-game coaching decisions and those mistakes, but he's also made really gutsy calls to win football games. I think that's important.
No, against the Ravens in the playoffs, when you punt on 4th and 2 from plus territory, not the best move. And that was the most recent bad decision. But again,
can he learn from that experience?
You would hope so.
You would hope so. Lewan coming back from ACL, we talked about that earlier in the year. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think Big Jeffrey Simmons, is becoming dominant in not an Aaron Donald way. He is a creature. He doesn't, I don't even understand Aaron Donald. Right. But Jeffrey Simmons coming into his own. Brett Kern, you got to give credit to Brett Kern.
He's a weapon.
He is a weapon.
Yes, Brett Kern's a weapon.
The coffin corner is real. Tannehill playing at elite level, as you just went through those stats, and now Julio Jones. I didn't even mention Kevin Byard having a chip on his shoulder to come back and have a better year.
Jalen says, what piece does the defense need to solidify it? I think they just need, time to play together. To be honest.
I'll tell you. I know.
Or do you want to save it?
I will save this because I have the answer.
What's
the question?
The question is from Jalen. Let me pull it back up so everybody can look at it again if I can find it. There's so many. Jalen, what piece does the defense need to solidify?
All right. Don't answer this. Don't answer it.
I've already kind of given my
answer.
I haven't expounded on it.
I have my answer.
Okay.
I think this is
for the defense.
Yes.
We'll save this for another day.
Let's do this Tuesday or Wednesday.
Because we're talking Julio. That's fine.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Copy and paste that. Do whatever you can.
I will try to find it again. So many comments.
I have the answer.
Try to copy and paste to send.
It is a complete game changer. The Titans are bar none 100% Super Bowl contender that is vying for home field advantage throughout the playoffs. I would even go further to say if this happens.
Okay. I'm texting it to you.
Now I'm kind of excited, but I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to watch. Look, we're live at 8 a.m. Every morning, every weekday morning. The next 2 days, set your alarm. Do whatever you do. Watch this show. I have that answer.
All right, that's fine. Jarvis and several other people bring up the kicker, and that's a different conversation altogether as well, right? The kicking conversation.
I'm not going to.
We don't want to get into the kicker.
Not saying the kicker is not defense, but the kicker is important.
The kicker is important. The kicker can cost you games, right?
Yes, we know that. Well, or just not even allow you to get it to overtime against the Pittsburgh Steelers in week.
True. All right, people are fascinated by this storyline, and I'm intrigued by it. But I think A.J. Brown just made it more interesting yesterday, and that is, what jersey number do we think Julio Jones will wear for the Titans? And we'll play you a video from A.J. Brown's media availability yesterday at the airport for a different function. We'll play that video here shortly, but first, let me tell you guys about our friends over at Renters Warehouse, renterswarehouse.com. They are the professional landlords in the Nashville area. Go to renterswarehouse.com to find out how much your home can rent for. There's so many different ways you can use Renters Warehouse to your benefit. You can create extra cash flows for you and your family by renting out your property instead of selling it. That helps you earn long-term equity, which means long-term wealth down the road. All right, we're back. I don't know what happened there, but you guys, we are back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but we're all good now. So we're back anyway. So let's just go ahead and get to this. What jersey number do we think Julio Jones will wear with the Tennessee Titans? And I think A.J. Brown said some very interesting things yesterday. So we'll play this video here to hear what A.J. Brown, when he was asked about the number 11.
I'm in the works with working with Vrabel about something, about the number. I tried to twist the one. It didn't go through. It was some yes, it was some no's. But I'm trying to be a good teammate and look out for him and, let him go out on the right foot, but we'll see though here and there. So all the jersey purchases just stop for a while. Just give it like a month. Just give it like a month. So until we find out what's going on.
All right, so there we go. There was A.J. Brown yesterday. He tried to go to one, but then he couldn't. And so we all know that Warren Moon has the jersey number 1 retired for Warren Moon. Now, that was retired in 2006 because I was thinking Gary Anderson, kicker, single bar, wore the number uno for the Titans in 03 and 04. But it was kind of interesting that the Titans waited so long to retire Warren Moon's number 1 until 2006 when they did that. And I know AJ has talked about that. Warren Moon went on Buck's show on The Zone and said he would be okay with AJ wearing number 1. But there's also and AJ said it, like, don't go buy those jerseys yet, because AJ knows that if he does change numbers, he's going to have to pay a certain amount of dollars to the NFL for changing jersey numbers without changing teams.
Yeah, and well, he's kind of be a businessman,
right? Yes.
Because you have to figure out the dollars and cents of how much money you have to pay, but how much money are you going to get back in New Jersey sales over the length of and course of time?
Right.
I still think that there's a struggle within the franchise to allow a player, an active player, be it AJ Brown, who just in a few years, or really two and some change, he's jumped on the scene. He's back-to-back 1,000-yard receiver, and this is a team that has notoriously been really bad at drafting wide receivers. Really bad. Whether you're, a 5th overall bust, or whether you're Kendall Wright,
Kenny Britt, Justin
Green
Hunter.
Beckham.
We can keep naming them. Tyrone Calico, which wasn't his fault. But again,
no one cares.
Yes.
So this is
Paul Williams,
right?
Courtney Roby. It was a 3rd-round pick. I mean, there's so many bad receivers drafted in the top 3 rounds.
So it's unique, but I think that Amy Adams Strunk has more respect for her father and what he built of this franchise and Bud Adams, and what Warren Moon helped the Houston Oilers become during his time at quarterback.
I find this funny. Johnny Lee just says, just go 11A and 11B, like they're apartments like on their jersey. That's really funny. A lot of guys are saying 8. I think it makes the most sense. You disrupt the least amount of anything by just giving Julio Jones the number 8. And plus, now all the Titans fans, and several of you guys have said this too, that you just get to take the Mariota jersey out of the back of your closet and just strip off the Mariota name and slap Jones on there. And you've got a jersey because you've probably bought a Mariota jersey at some point.
So, let's see who is available. Now, number 8 is actually worn by James Smith.
James Smith does not matter. I do not know what position James Smith plays. I have no idea who James Smith is.
You don't know James Smith?
No. Is he a kicker?
He's a punter.
Okay, punter. So James Smith can lose number 8 easily.
What about and so Josh Reynolds is 18.
Right.
So that's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, it could. Josh Reynolds has worn 18 twice because of OTA practices. Remember, A.J. Brown started his career wearing 18. And I believe it was Cam Batson or another guy like Cam Batson who wore 11 and got it taken away.
He got cut. The guy got cut.
The guy got cut, and then A.J. took 11. I can't remember who it was, though. But A.J.
That's how much he matters.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't Cam Batson. It was somebody else.
Yeah, it was not Cam Batson. I think he's going to take 8. I think that's the easiest.
But now it's because AJ said in that video, him and Vrabel are working through some things. What the heck does that mean? I actually feel like Mike Vrabel is more reluctant because he's an old school personality, reluctant to hand out single digit numbers to players who had not been able to wear that before. I truly believe that.
I know you do, and it's so wrong. But I think it's more about the franchise and Warren Moon. I think it's Warren Moon, dude.
I agree.
Get off.
I
Don't
agree
die
with,
on this hill.
I agree with that about number one. Yes, Warren Moon is what's getting. The
If
way
he
of that.
wants to, what are you talking about? A single digit numbers. Like
nobody, like Caleb Farley could have worn 3 if he wanted.
He chose not to.
We don't know that. You could have been.
He
given
literally he took 23.
right, but he could have asked for 3, and they didn't. Maybe they didn't get. I'm saying is like no position player who couldn't wear single digits is wearing single digits right now.
I think 8 makes the most sense, right? He goes back to his roots, his Alabama roots.
And it makes all the Roll Titans fans happy, right? It just makes them all happy. They're going to go buy the 8 Julio jerseys, just like they bought the 2 Titans jerseys for Derrick Henry when he wore number 2 in the preseason.
But if they if they have a switch, then AJ would take 1, Julio would take 11. I just don't think 1's on the table.
I don't think it is either.
I think it would look good, especially on AJ Brown, but I don't think it's on the table. I think Warren Moon, and this is my personal opinion, Warren Moon's career and retired number should trump this number.
I'm with you. And I also agree with your
debacle.
Point that you made about Amy Adams Strunk having too much respect for her father for the Houston Oilers connection, right? Because I think Warren Moon on Buck's show said something, I'm paraphrasing, like the fact that, that was with the Oilers. This is with the Titans. It's different. Like he views it different and doesn't mind it. But again, I don't think Amy Adams Strunk would view it that way because of her father.
Yeah. So we'll find this out sooner rather than later.
Thursday?
I think so. I think Julio will be on the field Thursday.
What about, let's just say it's not 8. What are some options outside of 8? And let's just say AJ stays 11, because I've seen some people say 88.
You could go to the 80s.
I feel like 88 is too bulky for Julio Jones.
80. I don't think Chester Rogers.
That sounds like Eric Moulds and Andre Johnson late in their careers. 81 right now is Racey McMath. That was Johnny Smith last year.
I think you're between 80, 88, or 8. 80, 88, or 8.
81's a good number. That was my opinion. But because it's a combination of.
That's your favorite number.
That's what I.
Yeah, I know.
But it's a combination. It's a combination of everything. It's the 8, it's the 1 and 11, and there you go.
Okay,
if 18's not on the table because Josh Reynolds and 81's the next best.
Full disclosure, guys, Austin's favorite number is 81. So there is extreme bias in this personal opinion.
Actually, my favorite number was 8, and then I couldn't get it because I played wide receiver, and so that's why.
And coach wouldn't allow it, or
no, because a senior quarterback had it.
Well,
so that's what
you're never gonna get it.
No. So that's that. But anyway, but I think it's either 80, 81, or 88. If 8 and 11 are off the table for Julio, but I actually think, somebody just Noah comes in here with some knowledge. Julio was 82 in high school.
See?
Who gives a 5-star athlete number 82 in high school?
Maybe he picked it. Or maybe it was one of those things where he had it as a freshman and he could only pick for certain numbers because seniors already had them.
I can't.
That happens.
How, like, Julio Jones being 82 in high school blows my mind. Why not 0-1? That's not how it works there, Tony. But yeah, I think eventually I believe it'll be 8. That's just the best marketing decision.
Well, we'll find out.
We will find out. A to Z Sports here live on a Monday, which also means we end the show with Bad Sales Job Monday. We've been off of Bad Sales Job the last couple of weeks because I took a Monday off and we were off all for Memorial Day. So Bad Sales Job is back. But first, let me tell you guys about Mandu, the Pulse of Fitness, where one 15-minute workout equals 5+ hours in the weight room. Mandu.com. Your first workout is absolutely free. Mandu.com. Check them out. One 15-minute electronic muscle simulation workout is really all you need once or twice a week. And that simulates 10 plus hours in the weight room. If you do it twice a week, it gets all of your muscles stronger. It tones, it burns and targets that hard to lose body fat. It can help you achieve all of your fitness goals without putting any stress on your joints or any pre-existing or current injuries. Head to mandu.com.
A to Z Sports Bet MGM. That is where we were powered by, or the title sponsor of this morning show. Download the app today. Use that promo code ATOZ Sports for a risk-free $600 bet for new users. Cannot beat that. Again, I had a risk-free $500 bet. They've upped the ante. I would want even more money, more than my $2,000 because of Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Man, that just rolls off the tongue. BetMGM, promo code ATOZ Sports.
Corey says, bad sales job. The Titans were a long shot to get Julio. Okay, Zach, bad sales job time here on this Monday. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we had to reset the rules of bad sales job because it was getting too heated, because Zach and I are both competitive people, especially when we're pinned up against each other. So the rules of bad sales job, or we each present our bad sales job to the other, 30 seconds to sell that, and then we cannot talk unless we are reading comments. You guys determine who wins the bad sales job. I believe we are at 9-9-3, or is it 9-9-2?
We get to 5.
If we get to 5 draws, we're done. Like Nashville SC would already be out. They've got 5 draws. They're already out. Okay.
We don't draw here.
No, well, no more than 5 times. Okay, so Zach, I'll let you give the bad sales job to me first.
I have my bad sales job. I wrote this down a couple of weeks ago, so I had to kind of dig a little bit.
Yeah.
But you have to sell us on why you, Austin, are done with technology. No phone, no computer, no TV, but will remain just as big of an asset to this company as before.
Without technology?
Hold
on. I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to clarify.
Okay.
Without technology, I am still an asset to this company?
Just as big of an asset. But you are done with technology. No phone, no computer, no television, but you are just as big of an asset to this company. And it will start whenever you are ready.
Well, first off, I'm an old school guy. We talked about this last week. I don't use a vacuum. I use a broom and a dustpan. That's me. I also write notes down. I'm a notepad guy with the pen that I have at all times. So all I got to do is make sure I take clear notes, and then we'll just hire Jack Gentry to be my personal assistant for A to Z Sports. And then Jack will be able to communicate everything that I need to communicate via technology to you, Zach. And that we can just make sure that I can still help run my side of the business that way.
That way.
Well, I mean, you cut me off. I had to wrap it up.
I get it.
So that was my bad sales job.
And Bobby, yes, he did grab some sales material.
Oh, come on. That's not the same thing. Sales material was information that we were talking about.
You did use the sales material.
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous.
Did you use sales material?
That's not the same sales material that we see. Here we go again. Like, we're not.
Bobby said
that. Okay. Cam says good spin with the personal assistant.
Okay.
Nick says terrible job. I'm reading comments. I'm allowed to read comments. That was poor from Nate. Notepad was a reach. Zach says not too bad. LOL. Not really impressed by who was it? G-Man says not really impressed. Austin, that was a tough one. That was a very tough one. I don't feel good about this here. So Zach, I want you to sell me in 30 seconds on why flip-flops are your least favorite type of footwear, and you will not wear flip-flops for the rest of this summer. Start when you're starting.
I actually am giving up flip-flops for real because I have a bone spur in the top of my toe, and it hurts to wear flip-flops. That's why I'm going to go to the Bone and Joint Institute and get this fixed. I don't need to wear open-toe shoes. They hurt your feet at times. And plus, I'm a shoe guy. You know that, Austin. I love shoes. I literally, right here, you talk about notepads, I buy shoes all the time, at least a pair a month, maybe every other 2 weeks. I'm done with flip-flops. Plus, when you go to the beach, you take flip-flops off. When you go to the pool, you take flip-flops off.
Done.
You go barefoot.
Okay, so Zach loves flip-flops. We do know that. Zach wears flip-flops. He loves shorts and flip-flops. That's why I asked this question, because people are like confused on why I asked Zach this question, because you are a flip-flop guy as much as I am a notepad guy. So that's where I went with that. So let's read comments on bad sales job. Who wins? Who wins? Who wins? That's all you need to do. Austin or Zach, who wins? I don't feel good about this. Kevin says he threw a sponsor in there, automatic W, but that hasn't been the same way for me. Zach won hands down. Austin put that one on a T for Zach, so there's another vote for Zach. Zach should have done so much better, but I think Zach wins. Billy says I win. Push from G-Man. We're not doing that. Zach won big. Zach wins today. Bone Spur saved it.
Which is true.
I forgot about your bone spur. Is it still hanging out there?
Oh, it
doesn't go away.
It's not good.
My shoulder bone spur is actually like I've got Dr. Arthur here at the Bone and Joint Institute helped my bone spur 2 years ago, and then Mandu also helped relieve that bone spur. So there's double sponsor there. Jarrell says Austin, but I am too a flip flop guy. I think you won that one.
I agree.
I think. Man, the how can I remain a big asset without technology with a technology company was a really tough sell.
I get it. I had to dig deep. I wrote that down.
You had to guarantee a win. There's always in bad sales jobs. There's always a few times where it's like I need a guaranteed lock win that the other person cannot do. That was one.
Right. If you're down 3-0, you got to go back home and take care of it.
Yeah, you can't.
You're not going to get swept.
You can't get swept. So you are now up 10-9-2.
10-9-2.
10-9-2. All right, guys. Big time Monday show after Julio Jones is officially a Titan. We've got a lot of topics to go out throughout the week, so the content will not stop. Buck Rising live tonight, A to Z Sports Primetime. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Tons of content, A to Z Sports Nashville.com, and also all over our social media. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks again to the Bone and Joint Institute. We'll see you later. Thanks.
Adios.